In the headlines, a facility to boost food production in Barbados expected to be completed early next year. The battle continues on the campaign trail with the BLP and DLP each making a case for their candidate. Some primary school students voiced their choice of peace over violence. Meanwhile, in sports, violence has forced the suspension of the ongoing IPL.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tisha Hines with the details. A game changer in the local agricultural sector is being created, one intended to boost food production. That's how the multi-million tissue culture lab in full swing at the home agricultural station Curtin St. Philip is being described. Our Anesta Henry visited the location to get an update on the project.
Tissue Culture Lab is a building where little plants are grown in a climate chamber or growth chamber for research, breeding, or multiplication. Construction of Phase 1 started in March and is set to be completed by year-end. Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security in Darwin says all the clearing of the topsoil has been done and workers are now at the foundation stage.
The foundation is due to be finished by the end of this month, and then they will start to erect the structures. Given the schedule that we are on, I anticipate that the Tissue Culture Lab should be up and running by end of this year.
Minister Ware says the new facility will become a critical arm of the island's agricultural capacity and improve yields.
In terms of being able to build resilience and managing climate change. You do know that with climate change, because of the prolonged droughts and of course the floods that come with the rains, crops do get, for the most part, a lots of pests that we are not accustomed to. And in some instances, we may get some plant diseases as well. This Tissue Culture Lab is here to help us to produce clean planting material.
Phase 1 of the project includes the construction of the lab and the seed bank, the administration and Barbados Innovation Center for Agriculture building, the entrance gazebo, site works, the infrastructure and parking, the electrical building and water retention pond. Minister Ware says the cost of this phase is approximately $25 million.
And then we go into Phase 2. Phase 2 is where you will see then the introduction of a fab lab so that people can put together, through using technology, all the little tools that they need, like irrigation tools to help with the irrigation lines and stuff like that. And then you will also get an innovation center that's going to come out of that, where students can come here and do virtual reality and also see the Internet of Things, operate drones to see how you can look at production right across the area.
Phase 2 of the project will begin in October and is expected to end by the beginning of 2026. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
After being closed for close to 2 decades, Barbados' lone 35-acre ecological wetland, the Graham Hall Nature Sanctuary, will be reopened to the public on May 31st. This is the result of a collaboration between the government, the Barbados Wetlands Trust, and the Tourism Development Corporation, which pooled resources to restore and reopen the facility. Rachel Agard attended an official tour with the Prime Minister and other government officials and files this report.
A gift returned to the people of Barbados. That's how the restoration and reopening of the Graham Hall Nature Sanctuary has been described by protector of the Barbados Wetlands Trust, Anthony De Silva. Among the highlights, Barbadians will now experience a reimagined migratory bird zone and other attractions. And the open area in the park will be available to all free of charge.
Fittingly, Tomorrow is World Migratory Bird Day, and for the first time in 10 years, passionate bird watchers and lovers will be welcomed back to the sanctuary as part of the Caribbean region's effort to record and photograph as many birds as possible on this important day. I hope their cameras will be busy tomorrow capturing first-time winged visitors to this sanctuary.
Prime Minister Amore Mley says the sanctuary is a miracle of biodiversity, and she is calling on interested people and others to come forward in support of the Barbados Nature Conservancy Trust. The trust will also have responsibility for Farley Hill National Park, Queen's Park, Pool Woods, King George V Memorial Park, Barclays Park, Welchman Hall Gully, Jack in the Box Gully, Turner's Hall Woods, and Archers Bay.
This is being invested in a trust such that it will benefit not just from the investments that the government of Barbados will make, but it is to my certain knowledge that beyond the activities of the private sector of this country, that there are opportunities for funding internationally, because we accept that in taking care of these public spaces, we are creating not just a national public good, but an international public good.
And Ms. Mley pledges that the government will always put Barbados and its people first.
To the churches, to the temples, to the religions, religious entities, there is no greater place for reflection than when you can commune with peace. And I'm thankful that this Graham Hall Greens will remain free of charge for anyone to come in and to be able to look and watch the birds, to be able to lie down on the grass, relax, and told that no horns, no loud music, none of those things will be allowed in here, and I give thanks for that, because a country must always have a safe and silent space for reflection.
Prime Minister Mley has also signaled government's intent to work with respect to air quality and noise pollution across the island. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Thanks, Rachel. That's some really, really great news. Now, despite some financial challenges, government has been able to implement major social and economic programs that have improved the lives of Barbadians. Prime Minister Amore Mley made the point during a Barbados Labour Party spot meeting in Husbands Road, St. James last evening, as she endorsed BLP candidate Chad Blackman for the upcoming by-election in St. James North. She added that there are a number of other development areas that will be addressed.
And in spite of being in an IMF program, we have picked up the pace. We pay people, we increase people's pay, we do the hospital, we deal with the schools, we deal with every aspect, we build the roads. There's a sense of order in the country again, and understand that from the issues of roads and infrastructure, as you heard Tony say tonight, we can't do all at once. But we have been making credible progress, and in this constituency 16 roads have been done already and more are still coming. Water, there are areas that are still zone A which cannot be used, but there are others which we have freed up from zone 1 and that are now available to people to develop.
In his address to constituents, Mr. Blackman announced that an agriculture initiative is coming for St. James North. He told the gathering it is the modernization of representation at the community level and all-encompassing exercise which would bring together everyone in agriculture in a cooperative.
You now have the ability to market your goods under a single brand, so that when you now go to a supermarket, you're not just going as a small player, but you're now part of a larger team enjoying good branding at a high quality that persons can now benefit from your produce. In addition to that, we have to come into the age of technology. And if you're in Husbands Road or in the Garden or Western or wherever, you should also be able to, if you want to order a piece of pork or some chicken or some vegetables, to be able to go on your phone and to see what is on offer from the cooperative, or to order it and have it delivered if you so choose. And therefore, part of it as well is to ensure that there's both a website and an application that allows for people to do this from the comforts of their homes.
Mr. Blackman also said a farmers market will be part of the initiative, which will give options to either shop online or in person. Meanwhile, opposition leader Ralph Thorne has challenged the government to put concessions across the board, and not just for certain individuals and businesses. The Democratic Labour Party leader was addressing those attending a political meeting at the Whim in St. Peter last night in support of candidate Felicia Dujon in the St. James North by-election race. He charged that government is preoccupied with giving concessions to people who already have a lot.
I was driving home one evening and I saw a rum shop. You're going up my Lord's Hill on the left, and there were a lot of tourists out there. And the restaurants, the big restaurants on the West Coast get concessions. They all get concessions. The villas get concessions because they cater to tourists, and you want to encourage tourism. And so my position is that if the tourists are going into the rum shops in the villages, why can't the owners of those rum shops get concessions as well? And that was the proposal I put to them, and they seem surprised. They've done nothing about it. Because this government reserves concessions. This government reserves preferential treatment for the wealthy in this country.
And in her contribution, Ms. Dujon noted that the murder rate among young people has escalated in a very short period, and it's a concern for her. Well, coming up, children add their voice to the call for peace instead of violence. Students of St. Bartholomew Primary are aware that they can pursue peace instead of violence. They made this clear while participating in a walk for peace through their community and all the environs around their school district. The students, accompanied by teachers and other adults, carried placards which bore messages that they want violence to end and guns off the streets. Principal Anthea Gill said the walk was timely given the high incidence of gun violence taking place in society.
It was the idea of my special events committee. Usually every term we try to plan a few activities for the school, and this was one of the ideas they had, and I liked it because given the amount of violence that we're having, we want the children to be very aware that they can, as my son says, seek peace instead of pursuing the violent outcome. So we planned it and we're executing it today, and I'm grateful to see how many members of the community came out to join with us.
And Principal Gill says all the students walked, even the youngest.
For the whole week, the person who did assembly talked about peace. We've been talking about it before, and about the reasons why we would want peace in our community and so on. And from time to time, we talk about these things because, in fact, it was while we were still planning. Imagine during the holiday we heard about a shooting taking place in this same community, and we were like, well, we are very timely. So I believe they understand. Some of them may be connected to the same person, and they've had their other individuals who I had a conversation with one parent already who said to me that he was shot more than once.
A call for Barbadians to make a concerted effort to eradicate the rise in mosquitoes all across the island. And they're being warned to remove all bromeliads from around their premises. Rachel Agard attended the annual Mosquito Week showcase and files this report.
Golden Square Freedom Park came alive today as students and the general public were educated on the proper way in how to survey, eradicate and control mosquitoes. Environmental Health Officer attached to the Vector Control Unit, Paula Husband-Charles, says illegal dumping and other methods of discarding garbage indiscriminately remain a concern for them.
Generally speaking, when the officers from the Environmental Health Department go around, we would find the sites that have been more or less people drop things around the house or in the environment, and that's where we would find a lot of breeding taking place. So illegal dumping really contributes to that problem, not only in that the containers are around and they catch water when we have rainfall, but also they get into our drains and they block the drainage systems, and that poses another problem also.
Ms. Husband-Shaw says climate change has also contributed to a significantly shorter time frame from egg to adult in mosquitoes and flies as temperatures continue to rise. She says this creates the perfect environment for the spread of mosquito-borne diseases like dengue, Zika, and chikungunya.
With the extreme temperatures that we're experiencing, more to the temperatures where the mosquitoes prefer, then we are seeing emergencies coming much quicker. Some of this information would have come out earlier. There was a symposium going on all week at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford complex with the doctors from across the region, and some of that information came out there. With one of the doctors stated that in their lab they found that in 3 to 6 days the mosquitoes are moving from egg to adult stage, and that is pretty short because before it would have been up to 14 days, 2 weeks before you see that emergence taking place, but now it is much shorter.
Senior Environmental Health Officer Erskine Springer is urging householders to remove all bromeliads from their surroundings. Bromeliads, which have approximately 2,500 variations, include pineapples and create the perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes.
We might come and treat the area, but then a couple days also after, got mosquito infection again, right? Maybe we come at your home, right? And you may say you got a lot of mosquitoes at your home, but basically all these the persons who check the highways and people houses, they have this here plant at their house, right? And we go and check. Majority times we find mosquito larvae in them, right? So my advice, right, is to get rid of these plants and get a plant, right, that is not conducive to holding the water. But they got nice plants that don't have this sort of catchment in them, right? So my advice, this is my advice, right? But it's not for a decision or whatever, this is mine, right? It's to get rid of these plants and get something that not conducive to breeding mosquitoes in them.
Students also had the opportunity to maneuver an obstacle course to eradicate mosquito breeding grounds. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Barbados President, Her Excellency, the Most Honourable Dame Sandra Mason, has received the key to the city of Monrovia on her official visit to Liberia. It was presented by City Mayor John Charak Saiafa at the Monrovia City Hall. The presentation forms part of the 160th anniversary celebrations of Liberia and Barbados relations. Dame Sandra is Barbados' first head of state to visit the West African nation. She was received yesterday at the Roberts International Airport by Liberia's foreign minister, along with several senior government officials. The president is leading a high-level delegation on her 3-day visit aimed at strengthening cultural and economic ties between Barbados and Liberia. The visit comes shortly after Barbados' ambassador to Liberia, Juliet Bino Sutherland, presented her letters of credence to President Joseph Boakai on April 29th.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
It's sports time now with the best man.
Yes, good evening to you, Tisha. Well, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board is under investigation for alleged fraud-related offences. The police have seized what has been described as a substantial quantity of documents from the TTCB office in Balmain, Vancouver. The seizure took place yesterday after a search warrant was executed by police during a probe into the alleged offences of Trinidad's cricket governing body. The TTCB president, Azim Bazaraf, told local TNT media the search was in relation to the $500,000 allegedly misappropriated by a board employee who no longer works at the organization. Former Treasurer Kishwa Chaitu raised a red flag about the missing money in late 2023 and reported the matter to the police. He was later removed by the board after a vote of no confidence was passed. He was accused of breaching his duty of confidentiality by reporting the matter to the police before the TTCB had conducted its own investigation and also sharing sensitive information with the media. Well, improvements are required, but the West Indies team is headed in the right direction. That assessment from spinner Jamel Warrican as the regional side gears up to host Australia in a 3-match test series from June 25th to July 16th. Afterwards, the teams will turn their attention to a 5-match T20 series starting July 20th. Warrican was a guest on Morning Barbados.
We have a rich legacy and history, and we're not performing as we like as a team. That's the truth there, but we are confident we're going in the right direction because we won some games. For example, we beat Australia last year. Then we won against Pakistan recently. And for example, the 20 side was number 9, now they're number 3 in the world. So there's improvement. There's a lot of improvement. So just about the journey, and we sticking together as a team and backing our plans and what we want to achieve together. And just, I'll tell you, fans, be a little patient with us. We're getting there. There will be ups and downs, but let's back us 100%.
Warrican has had an outstanding year so far in the Test arena, taking 19 wickets across 4 innings against hosts Pakistan at an average of 9.00. The left-arm spinner is asking for support from the West Indies fans next month and says he and the team are focused on consistency.
When I leave here, I have to go straight to the gym, and then from there I take my practice into the batting lab, and also recovery is very important. So whether you stretch and you warm down or just a little chill period as well, but also just having a clear mindset, visualizing what you want to do or what you want to achieve, and start thinking about this series. But at the same time, you keep a balance in terms of not overthinking as well.
Yeah, because you just don't want to put that pressure on you that's unnecessary. And then Pakistan follows right after. So you're busy this whole season long.
Yes, I guess obviously Pakistan were looking to have their revenge against us, so we have to continue performing well and just have a balance. You know, you don't want to think too far ahead as well. So first thing you focus on is the Australia series, take that step by step, then from there the next journey will be against Pakistan.
Football now, Barbados and Dominica played to a disappointing 0-0 draw in their international friendly last night, despite both teams having several chances to score. Playing at the Dominica Football Association Technical Centre in Roseau, Barbados kept their record alive of not losing to Dominica in 3 meetings. Here are the highlights.
Ball coming in on the near post.
Ball coming through. First bit of danger to Dominica, the number 10. Back across goal. And a good clearance completed. Ball back into the box, and Brian Thomas there. And a free kick in a very dangerous position for Barbados, but they play it short again. Ball coming into the box. Header over the bar. Ball coming in. Good header out. Corbin Paul. Danger still not completely averted. A miss kick. Ball. Joseph over the bar. It can sell pressure for the Barbadian defenders. And the ball headed on and save. Jerome Burkhardt there. Laville. Great save. And that will be the final whistle here at the end of an exhilarating night of football.
The Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry's 200th anniversary is being celebrated as the achievement of an historic milestone. That's how it was described during the Chamber's luncheon and media briefing at the Hilton Barbados Resort today. Our Trevor Thorpe was there.
Executive Director Misha Lobban-Clark told the audience the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been at the forefront of private sector and national development since 1825. After Jared Wright read the proclamation of the celebration, she said the Chamber had created opportunities, fostered a cohesive community, and contributed to the development of a thriving and resilient business environment. She also said the Chamber represents the interest of over 240 businesses across diverse sectors of Barbados, and the celebrated milestone is under the theme, Collaborate, Advocate, Innovate.
These embody the spirit of this bicentennial journey. These are more than words. They are the foundation of our past and the guiding principles of our future, as the Chamber continues to drive economic growth and national transformation.
Newly elected President Paul Innes, while saying he is looking forward to celebrating the milestone, gave some insight into what will be getting his attention while in the position.
We haven't had intimate sessions with the business leaders, the members of the chamber, to really reset and understand from them what are their needs, what are their expectations, and that is where I want to start. In terms of my focus, I would like to be able to first continue to partner with all stakeholders as it relates to business facilitation and the ease of doing business in Barbados.
Vice Chair of the Anniversary Committee, Betty Brathwaite, talked about the agenda, noting a church service at the St. Mary's Anglican Church on May 25th will start the proceedings.
One of the highlights of our anniversary will be our grand gala and awards dinner, happening on Saturday, September the 20th at the Wyndham Grand Barbados. It promises to be a spectacular black tie affair with a blue carpet entrance, cultural performances, and a powerful legacy video reflecting on where we've been and where we are going.
The objective of the anniversary celebration is to highlight the contribution of the wider business community. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Well, happy anniversary to the Chamber. Mother's Day celebrations this year will have new meaning for at least 2 Christchurch-based businesses. It will be the first time Apple Blossom Retreat and Spa at Perone Plaza, Worthing, and the Rum Stop at St. Lawrence Gap will be focusing on that special day. On tonight's Business Report, officials of the 2 companies speak to our Trevor Thorpe about what's in the works.
Getting involved with the Mother's Day celebration is new territory for the folk at Apple Blossom Retreat and Spa and the Rum Stop. Esthetician and spa therapist Renia Gaskin was in an upbeat mood, putting the finishing touches as the countdown started at the Perone Plaza premises location. She said the guide words are "spoil her sweetly."
I am also including my cocktail menu. So this is a little example of what I will be showcasing. This is our New York Sour. It encompasses whiskey, red wine, simple syrup, all the good little things that you would like to treat yourself with. We also have a Bailey's sundae where you get vanilla ice cream and Bailey's and chocolate shavings. We just want to provide and go above and beyond for our clients.
Award-winning chef Alfredo Batson was tweaking the menus at the Rum Stop.
One of our actual special dishes this year, we are basically going to take the sweet potato pie that they just really love, and we are going to take the pina colada concept and add that into the mash, the sweet potato mash, and make our sweet potato pie. Because we, as I told you before, we are infusing the Barbadian culture into the international food styles and standards. So we are going to be using our buffet. We are going to have appetizers, main courses, have Belgium, bread pudding, the whole full works.
The chef said nothing is being left out and last-minute deciders have been thought of as they are also looking ahead to Father's Day.
Mother's Day, we have put everything in place for Mother's Day, and we've also started conceptualizing Father's Day as well, because what we know mothers like the ham and stuff, but for Father's Day we are going to take it to another level now, where we can add some real big boy beef to the menu and some Yorkshire puddings and that kind of stuff, where we know the fathers come out to eat a little bit more hearty, so we will be actually enhancing the menu towards the fathers a bit more.
Officials of the 2 entities tell the Business Report they are laying a roadmap for a dual highway ahead. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time now for the second half of sports. Back over to you, Damien.
Thanks so much, Tisha. Well, the 2025 BCIC Rally Barbados and First Citizens King of the Hill are set to be record-breaking events with the largest ever number of competitors entered. This was revealed during a media conference at the Bushy Park Racing Circuit in St. Philip to launch the premier motorsport event in the Caribbean. CBC's Amore Mley was there.
A whopping 126 crews will start their engines for 4 days of intense and exciting motorsports in what promises to be 2 events like no other: First Citizens King of the Hill and BCIC Rally Barbados. There will be 22 special stages with 51 overseas entries, inclusive of 24 female drivers and co-drivers. Fierce competition is expected, with a showdown between Jamaica's Jeff Panton in the Ford Fiesta R5 Rally 2, 2-time European champion Simon John Joseph driving a super-modified 2 rear-wheel drive Porsche, and last year's winner Stuart Maloney in his Skoda Fabia RS Rally 2. King of the Hill returns to Hyman St. Thomas on May 25th for the 9th time since 2011. Defending champ Dane Skeet in the Subaru Impreza WRC S12 will be hoping to repeat. Event director Neil Bernard says the events continue to grow.
The latest tweak in the layout carries the 4-kilometer stage from Content, roughly the same stage start as in 2022 when First Citizens first came on board, through the Vaucluse Raceway, round the famous Vaucluse 90 and down near to the bottom of Hyman's Hill. It's an interesting course and it's a challenging one. For the first time in Rally Barbados, that 7.5-kilometer Padmore to Golden Grove stage will pass through Bushy Park. The 8.1-kilometer Inchcape Kendall to St. John is the event's longest stage and will run 3 times on Saturday from Kendall all the way out to Ellesmere.
BCIC General Manager Marketing Lorianne Glasgow described the continued partnership and support to motorsports as unique.
The rally isn't just about racing, it's also about performance, just like we do. To the drivers, crews and fans, we wish you an unforgettable rally. And to the Barbados Rally Club, thank you for welcoming us back for another year. In our 60-plus year history, this partnership is truly one of a kind. And after almost 8 years on the island, over 8 years on the island, we know Rally Barbados is more than just motorsport. It's celebration of the Barbados pride, passion, and power.
Meantime, Claire Jordan, Chief Executive Officer of title sponsor for the King of the Hill, First Citizens, also expressed pride in their collaboration and commitment.
Our partnership over the past 4 years has been anchored in teamwork, smart decision-making, and the ability to be agile. We continue to enjoy an excellent collaboration that drives our focus on community development, relationship building, and national pride. And we are proud to stand with the drivers, organisers, fans, and communities all that come together to make this rally so special.
This will be the 35th edition of Rally Barbados, and it is expected to have an economic impact of $4 million Barbados dollars, with over 600 visitors projected to arrive on the island. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, that's NewsNight. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.